digital PR and brand strategy for SoulCycle. Who here has taken a SoulCycle class? Okay, cool. If you haven't taken a SoulCycle class, have you at least heard of SoulCycle? Is that everyone? Can we get everyone's hand in the air now? Okay, great. So SoulCycle has arguably one of the loyalist consumers a brand could wish for. And that's why we are a constant conversation in popular culture today. The New York Times talks about the SoulCycler as an adjective when they're not even discussing our brand. We've been parodied on Netflix shows like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt recently. What we've created is a human experience that touches our loyal customer every single touch point of the brand, and that's what we're using to grow and extend our brand. And we're relying on our brand ambassadors to promote our brand for us.
I just had the best birthday experience ever at SoulCycle.
To a SoulCycle class, I worked out twice as hard.
You go to SoulCycle.
Yeah. People seem obsessed with it.
It's amazing.
SoulCycle is my favorite workout.
If you're like David Beckham, then SoulCycle is your thing.
I do a lot of SoulCycle.
Have you guys done SoulCycle?
I do SoulCycle a lot.
Haley hosted a class.
The Kardashians do it, Alec Baldwin, Lena Dunham, Cindy Crawford.
Did it in New York City, and I cried the whole time, had a spiritual experience.
SoulCycle.
My SoulCycle membership.
Cooked one time, but it's SoulCycle.
I do SoulCycle.
SoulCycle.
Yeah.
Does that get me free SoulCycle?
I do it like 4 times a week, and I ride front row center. So, yeah.
So that's kind of brand gold, right? We don't pay them, we don't actually do any paid for media, and Judd Apatow does not get free SoulCycle. So how did this happen? And how are we using our loyal rider? How are we reinforcing the loyalty to also grow our brand? And it's a conversation I have day in, day out with brands looking to partner with SoulCycle, people like yourself who are like, how can I work with SoulCycle? So I figured I'd give a few insights today about how we work with our rider to grow our brand and how that can also work with partnerships. So first and foremost, our current customer comes first, always, in every brand decision we make. We put them number one above anything else. We put them above acquiring a new rider. We turn down media placements, other opportunities with brands, things that any other brand would jump at to do. We've turned down because we want to keep a class on a schedule to keep 60 riders happy. 60 current customers are more important to us than reaching a potential audience that would grow our ridership further. We rely on them to be our ambassadors. We don't want to risk losing them. We need them to promote our brand. We love grassroots marketing and using them for our benefit. Number two, we really use our riders to extend our brand. We ask them for feedback. We constantly ask them for feedback. They have been the reason we have a retail business. We didn't come up with the idea to just create t-shirts and slap a SoulCycle logo on it. We asked them, what do you guys want from SoulCycle? They were like, I want people to know I'm right at SoulCycle. I'm proud of the physical part of the journey I have in the room. I want people to know I have that. I want people around New York City. You can't walk around New York City now and not see a SoulCycle bag or a SoulCycle t-shirt. We now have a retail business which is substantial. We have 12 collections a year, and it's a brand extension driven by our loyal rider. Our wider audience, our social media following internationally, is also driving our content strategy. Content's such a keyword that we hear all the time today. We're actually blowing out a digital platform next year to engage with our followers who can't be in our physical studios. Hopefully they will one day, but they are getting something from the SoulCycle brand. They want that touch point with us. We respond to every retweet that comes into us. We respond to every email that comes into us. Even if you're not a rider in a SoulCycle studio, if you engage with the brand, you're going to get an engagement back for us. It's key in building our brand, and it's key to continued loyalty. So one thing that I get all the time is partners looking to work with us. And the first thing I do if an email comes in who wants to, touch base with our community is Google you effectively in our manager system. I want to know if you ride at SoulCycle. If I get an email from a brand, from an agency, from an individual, don't tell me that you want to do something with SoulCycle if you are not personally engaged in our brand. If you are, there's a very good chance I'm going to make something happen with you because we support our community back. It's a two-way street. That people, our riders are promoting us and supporting us, and we're doing the same for them. It's the main way we've been able to work with some very cool industries, including the music industry. We've had artists, some of them who are in the video, ride at SoulCycle, who have come to us and said, hey, I love SoulCycle. I want to do something for the community. I want to launch my album at SoulCycle. So we've sat in room and we've brainstormed some really cool moments, which have been huge media moments for the brand, but have effectively served our community. We've done something for a rider that wanted to promote themselves within our studio, within our brand, and we'll do that for a celebrity, and we'll do it for a small juice brand who pops up next door to a local studio. We want to support our community, we want to support our rider. The other thing that we just really think 360 is we're growing our brand and really making sure that we continue to have a back and forth and a touch point with all our riders and community is we're not doing anything just for the sake of doing it. We had a lot of offers to go to South by Southwest and a couple of other conferences and festivals, and we held off because we didn't want to just be part of the clutter. That's not something that SoulCycle does. We come in and we make a statement and people take notice. We decided to put a pin in it, and this year we actually went to two festivals. We went to CES with Twitter and South by Southwest with Spotify. What we realized we could do is really own the morning at these trade shows. We didn't want to go and get lost in the clutter, but there's no fitness offering and no one programs anything at 7 a.m. What we had was wait lists of hundreds of people, new riders and existing riders who were excited we were at these trade shows, but we also had a huge media moment for the brand. And then it fulfilled our community's desire to constantly be on the top of everything new that's happening and growing. So I've spoken a little bit about just SoulCycle, how we've built the loyal ridership, how we let our loyal riders work for us, how they are extending our brand. But there are a few takeaways I thought that you could all apply to what you're working on and potentially coming to offer to partner with SoulCycle. The first and foremost is never neglect your current customer. It's something that is true to everything we consider in brand strategy at SoulCycle. They are more important than the potential customer you're about to do. You want to make sure that you keep your customer base happy. Number two, look into your community. Who's already a supporter that can help you grow? You saw it, we have hundreds of celebrities that will talk about us with no paid endorsement. And that just happens on that level, but also people in this room, probably after I finish speaking, will have a conversation about where do you ride, who do you take? Always look at how those people can keep helping you. And thirdly, don't just do something because you think you have to. If every other brand is popping up somewhere, wait until it's right for you and wait for the moment, and make sure you're doing it for your customer and for a brand moment in time, not just because. So I guess I can open up to questions.
Avid fan of SoulCycle, but how have services like ClassPass disrupted or either added to your loyal consumer base?
We get that question a lot. SoulCycle is a premier experience, and it's a premier. It's $34 in New York City. It's $30 in wider markets. We've been approached by ClassPass. I've done ClassPass, and honestly, when I'm paying what ends up being $2 for a class, I'm not bringing my A game. We give our riders a lot, and we ask for a lot back. They show up in that room, and they're going to own it. They're going to work hard. They're going to be part of the group. They're going to be on the right leg when they're meant to be on the right leg. We want to keep that kind of responsibility back and forth. We want people to show up and own the experience. So that's why we're not jumping onto some of those platforms, even though I personally think they're great.
Any other questions? I think right here.
As somebody in the events world who actually activates at Sundance, you guys were there 2 years ago, and I'm just hearing about, you're talking about South by and the other event, you talk about why did you guys go to Sundance when you were talking about holding off until the last
Sundance was actually, I started at the company about a week before we went to Sundance. Sundance was honestly because a ton of our LA riders go to Sundance. A ton of New York riders go too, and they kept being, there's no fitness, you've got to come. So we had an opportunity to go, and we decided, let's do it. We'll pop up. We'll do a couple of things. We took about 25 bikes. We thought we were going to fill about 15 of them with our current riders who were just in and out of town. We ended up running about 9 classes a day instead of 2 and had wait lists for every class. It was a great acquisition program for us. It was a great discovery touch point, which was why we wanted to look at going into these other conferences, but we wanted to wait until we knew what our position there was going to be. We didn't want to get lost in the mess.
Other questions? We have one over here. Yep.
So do you have a brand guideline you follow now? Have you created anything like on paper, or is it just developed organically as the customers respond to the brand?
The customers respond to the brand. It definitely doesn't happen by accident. It's something that in every new studio when we open in a new market, we all go there, corporate go there, we spend time on the ground, we get to know everybody, we really build the community from the ground up, and it's that first touch point. The main thing people forget is people want to feel valued and heard, and they want a human behind the brand, and that's what SoulCycle gives them every single day. It's definitely not rocket science, and people forget it, and it works.
Thanks.
Okay. We still have time for another question. Right over here, mate.
With the blow up of big boutique studios, do you think that SoulCycle and all these small fitness things are sustainable over the next 5-10 years, or do you think it's going to phase out?
I think that it's going to continue to grow. I think that SoulCycle really innovated group fitness. Before SoulCycle, people just went to the gym. It was a checklist item. There were some yoga studios, especially in New York City, that people went to. SoulCycle isn't just about exercise. It's about client entertaining. It's about going there instead of to happy hour. I go with 5 of my friends before I ever worked here on a Friday night, and then we'd go for a cocktail. It's an entertainment now, and it's something that people value and putting their money into. It's not just working out, so I think it's sustainable.
Yeah, there's a reporter who could only get an interview with Dick Costolo, the former Twitter CEO, if she went to the SoulCycle class with him.
Yeah, she
and she did it.
He's a big fan, hence going to Twitter with CES.
Right here.
I'm just curious, who would you consider to be your biggest competitor? Is it Pure Barre? Is it Flywheel, another spin opportunity, or is it something else completely?
Is it CrossFit?
It's such a coined PR answer, but honestly, we're competing with ourselves right now, and the way we look at this country is however someone can get moving and want to be healthy and work out, great. I don't care if that person finds it at Flywheel, I don't care if they find it on ClassPass. At the end of the day, SoulCycle was created by 2 women who wanted to make exercise joyful for a country where it's not happening. So the fact that there's more opportunity for people to do that, it's good for us.
And as a follow-up, when are you expanding your Boston area studio?
January. January we're opening Boston proper.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You
so
heard it here first.
We're doing 15 to 20 a year.
Okay.
So.
That's all we have time for. Thanks, Vicky.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
All right.